Well, I was so excited about today and all the great things that we're celebrating that I had a really wonderful idea. And our first communicants, maybe you can help me with this and you can tell me if you think it's a good idea. My idea was, I thought that today we would have a quiz. Yeah, good idea, huh? Some of these, okay, good. Well, actually, I'm gonna ask you some questions, but they're questions that a teacher asked in a Catholic school a while ago, and I'm just gonna tell you what the kids in that school said, but I wanna know maybe you guys will have, before I do that, maybe you guys will be able to answer some of these questions too, all right? I see some of you are slinking down in your pews and looking at the floor. Don't let Father John call on me. I'm not gonna call on you, just be if you put up your hand if you have an answer, all right? So here's the first question. Why did God make mothers? Why? So they can have kids. All right, that's very good. That's a good answer. Anybody, why did God make mothers? Anybody else have another answer for that? Why did God make mothers? Somebody over here, why did God make mothers? So we can have Mother's Day, right? Okay, that's very good. That's great. We have something else to celebrate. One more, why did God make mothers? So what? So there could be more people on earth. You're right. Well, these are what the kids in this school said. Why did God make mothers? Because they're the only ones who know where the Scotch tape is. What ingredients, question number 2, what ingredients are moms made of? Yeah.
Love, kindness, and care.
Oh, how beautiful. Love, kindness. Is this your mom? Love, kindness, and care. Isn't that a beautiful thing? What ingredients are moms made of? Anybody else? Yeah. They're made of other moms. You mean like your grandma? Like grandmas? Okay. That's very good. You should be a biology major when you get to school. Well, these are what these kids said. What ingredients are moms made of? Clouds, angels' hair, and a little bit of mean. None of the moms here, of course. Why did God give you your mom and not some other mom? Anyone? Yeah, yeah, why? Because it's your mom, okay? So God had that in mind when he sent you, right? That's true for all of us, right? God knew your parents. He sent you to the perfect ones for you. Well, these are what these kids said. Because God knew that my mom liked me a lot more than other people's moms do. Couple more. What kind of little girl was your mom? Yeah? What kind of little girl was your mom?
A cute one.
A cute one. Okay, very good. A cute one. What kind of little girl was your mom? A funny mom. Okay, how about your mom? A good mom. How about yours? A kind mom. An embarrassing mom. We'll have to hear more about that later. A mom who likes to play sports. That's pretty good. Well, these kids said, what kind of little girl was your mom? Well, I wasn't there, but my guess, pretty bossy. What, if you could change one thing about your mom, what would you change about her? Be very careful, because maybe you're having a party later and you want it to be fun. Yeah. To have orange hair? Okay, a mom with orange hair. What would you change? You would change her personality. Oh, no. Because it's already wonderful, right? And you just have a couple little tweaks maybe. What would you do?
So I can have a brother.
Oh, to get your mom, you want a brother? Okay, very good. You heard that, Mom? Yeah.
To make my mom play what I want to play.
Oh, to make your mom play what you want to play, right? Instead of what she wants to do, right? What about you? Oh, your mom's perfect. That's great.
To make my mom not yell all the time.
He wants a mom who's not going to yell all the time. If you could change one thing about your mom, these kids said, I'd get rid of the eyes on the back of her head. Well, you know, today is good. It's Mother's Day, and it's Good Shepherd Sunday. And you know what? Has anyone ever seen a shepherd in Ramsey or Mawa or in the town? We don't see shepherds, right? Because we don't have really sheep around. But we do have one. So when we hear Jesus talk about the Good Shepherd, that would make a lot of sense to the people where he lived in his time, because there were a lot of shepherds. And maybe today in other parts of the world where there's lots of sheep. But for us today, it's not something that we maybe really know all that well. But there is some place that we can see what a shepherd might be like. And I think we can see it in a mom. I think we can see it in a dad too, and maybe even in grandparents, because when we see how parents are, and those of us whose parents are maybe in heaven with God, if we're a little bit older like me, maybe we can remember them, right? The love of parents, the way that they care for us, the way that they feed us, the way that the way they protect us. In those things we can see a little bit of what a shepherd does. And so when we think of Good Shepherd, it's really a beautiful image for us today. So today we come on this first Holy Communion Day. You know, I looked up earlier today what sheep like to eat. And there was all different kinds of grass that sheep like to eat. And the shepherd has to make sure, because there's things that are bad for the sheep to eat, right? So what the shepherds who are in our church today, the moms and the dads who are here, the shepherds and the catechists, maybe you're sort of shepherds too, right? The grandparents. But you have to make sure that your sheep, our sheep, are eating the right stuff to make them strong and healthy. And that's what today is about in Holy Communion. That children today, for the very first time, are receiving Jesus in Holy Communion. That's the shepherd bringing the sheep to the best food, the food that comes from God's table. And so in this food, we become strong spiritually. And in regular food at the dinner table later that we're going to eat, we become strong physically. But this food makes us strong spiritually. So even today, if today's your 500th Holy Communion or your 5,000th or whatever number it is for you, it's a day that Christ, our shepherd, comes to his sheep to feed us. You know, parents, I found this really great book. It's called Stories of the Blessed Sacrament. Magnificat is the name of the publisher. And children, you might, maybe this would be a great book to have. It's got 12 stories about, now when we talk about the Blessed Sacrament, that's Jesus in Holy Communion, right? In the tabernacle, at Mass, the Blessed Sacrament. And there's great stories, some stories in the Bible that tells us about Jesus giving us himself in Holy Communion. But there's also some great stories about some saints. I want to tell you just one story from here that I really love. Has anyone ever heard of St. Anthony? What do we know St. Anthony for? What is it? He helps you to find things. If you lose something, right? Something, St. Anthony, please come down. Something's lost, can't be found. Maybe you've heard that prayer. But there's a beautiful story about St. Anthony that he was in a town and he was preaching about Jesus. And he was a Franciscan priest. Now, Franciscans always liked animals, right? So Anthony's in this town and there's a guy there who doesn't believe in Jesus, doesn't love Jesus. His name was Jacques Girard. And I got the wrong name. I want to tell you the right name because I don't want to mess it up. Guyard, Zach Guyard, that's his name, Zachary Guyard. And this man didn't believe, this man was a farmer. So St. Anthony said to him, I'll tell you what, take your donkey who you love, bring him home, and don't feed him for 3 days. Then come back and I'll meet you here in the square in front of the church. And we're going to put a big barrel of his favorite food. And then St. Anthony said, I'm going to come out of the church with Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament, and let's see what your donkey does. And so 3 days passed, and the guy came back, Zachary came back with the donkey, who looked and saw his food, that he was so hungry, and he saw Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament, and you know what the donkey did? He went to the Blessed Sacrament, and he knelt down before Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament. I love that story. I think that's a beautiful story. And you know what? If you go today, there's a church called
Saint
Pierre-le-Gaillard in the Loire Valley in France. There's a church, that's the town where it happened. The church is still there, and you can see a 15th century painting of the mule who's kneeling before Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament. There's great stories in here, in this stories of the Blessed Sacrament. What I love about that is we can learn something even from animals, right? From sheep, from mules, from all kinds of animals that can teach us of the beauty of God's creation and can, even in this case, remind us of how wonderful it is that Jesus gives us himself. And this happens, children, today in the Blessed Sacrament. God has been waiting. Jesus has been waiting from all eternity for you today to come to this altar and to receive him. And so it's a wonderful day that we all celebrate. All of us here today who are not making our first Holy Communion, who already made it, maybe in these children today, we can sort of reclaim a little bit, recapture a little bit of the joy of our own first Holy Communion, when we became one with the God who loves us. May God bless us. And I always love the words of St. John Vianney, who said, every consecrated host is made to burn up with love in a human heart. So when you're receiving communion, it's to give you energy to love, to leave this church when we finish Mass and to go out and love. That's being charged. You know, you can plug in your phone to charge it. This is where we're charged. This is where we're charged to go out and to love. So may God help all of us today as we receive Jesus to love him and to allow his love to make us to burn up with love in the world. May God bless our children today on their first Holy Communion day. And all of us.